Now, Sexyy Red was recently in some controversy regarding a photo that she posted on social media. The photo in question was an AI-generated photo of Sexyy Red herself and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holding hands in a crowded nightclub. I want to touch on this story because it went viral on social media, so let's speak on it. So like I said, Sexyy Red the other day posted this photo right here on her Twitter account, which depicts her and civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in the club. Now, I seen this photo initially and I thought to myself, it is a little strange to post this because obviously the contrast between Sexyy Red and Martin Luther King is very big, right? Kind of almost feels like illegal to see this depiction of both of these, together, holding hands in the club of all places, I'll be honest with you. Now, things actually ended up escalating when MLK's youngest daughter, Bernice King, who's turning 62 years old in March, responded to this. And this is what Bernice said in response to this AI-generated picture of her father with Sexyy Red in the club. "This is intentionally distasteful, dishonoring, deplorable, and disrespectful to my family and father, who is not here to respond himself, because he was assassinated for working for your civil and human rights and to end war and poverty." And then she put up a second response saying the following: "Please don't project your thoughts onto me. I don't believe Sexyy Red to be a degenerate, ghetto, or trash. I've spoken out in the past about the use of and comparison to either of my parents to denigrate other people. I just don't understand this type of use of my father's image on MLK Day, no less, in a way that does not convey what we know to be true about his service and sacrifice. Even if you disagree with him or with his tactics, or even believe things said about him by people who hated him, why do this? Now, the response to this entire story wasn't actually what you would think. A lot of people were criticizing his daughter, essentially saying, "Why are you overreacting? It's not that serious. It's just an innocent photo," etc. I was kind of surprised to see that those responses were so prominent in relation to what Bernice said, because most of us at this point, right, should at least know that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is one of the most significant black leaders in black American history. He was a driving force behind the civil rights movement, fighting for equality and justice in a time when segregation and systematic racism were the norm. So you would think that everyone would understand her frustration, because obviously she doesn't want her father's legacy to be connected to Sexyy Red's name, which is very understandable. Now, Sexyy Red posted this on MLK Day, which is a little weird. But then again, maybe not maybe, I guess, this could be her way of paying her respects to a great black leader. So from her perspective, she's like, man, I'm gonna put this photo up of me and Martin posted up in the club on MLK Day to honor him. I don't know about you, but I don't really believe in coincidences, especially when it comes to things like this. High key, I feel like this is the kind of thing that possibly gets encouraged by the people behind her, because the timing feels too deliberate for me. It's almost like there's a calculated effort to take something meaningful, sacred, like honoring a black leader who stood for his dignity and justice, by reducing it to something like a meme of him in the club. This entire thing to me is just honestly very strange, I'll be honest with you. I'm sure most of y'all know that at this point, Sexyy Red doesn't operate on her own. She has an entire machine behind her that's funding her. All I'm saying is it's giving Agent of Chaos vibes, if you ask me. So to see a bunch of people criticizing Bernice, his daughter, right, criticizing her response, to me was just head scratching. Now, Sexyy Red actually ended up responding to this entire thing, and she said the following: "You ain't wrong, never meant to disrespect your family. My apologies. Just reposted something I saw that I thought was innocent. Praying hands emoji." Now, this was a pretty, let's just say, surprising response from Red. I definitely didn't see this coming, because we've talked about some of the controversial moments she's been involved in before, and I'm sure you guys are familiar with her game, okay, i.e. her questionable moves, like her pulling up to a school full of kids after she got kicked out for smelling like weed. Actually, she pulled up to the school. They said, "Hey, Red, you're not welcome, okay? You smell like weed." And then Sexyy Red was like, "Oh, hell no, I'm coming back around." And then she ended up coming back around. So it's really good to see her taking accountability, unlike other situations in the past. So maybe after all, she literally posted this because she thought it was a good way to honor MLK. So from that perspective, it would be out of pure ignorance. I mean, the fact that she instantly apologized and took it down is a level of self-awareness that I didn't really think she had, being honest with you. My feelings about Sexyy Red aside, I really respect when people can see the fault in their ways and just own up to it. No matter who you are, if you can see your faults in an objective manner and just apologize when you know you're wrong, you got my respect. Bernice ended up responding to Red's apology, and she said the following: "Thank you for your apology, which I sincerely accept. Please know it was not my intent that you be denigrated. I value you as a human being. I hope you understand my concerns about the image. I know that my father has become a bit of a caricature to the world, and that his image is often used with no regard to his family, his sacrificial work, or to the tragic, unjust way in which he died, in parentheses, a state-sanctioned assassination. Unfortunately, I regularly challenge the disregard. I earnestly wish that people would imagine what it would feel like to see their deceased, murdered father repurposed for party flyers, unjust legislation, etc. All the best to you, young lady. So there we have two grown people, one, an elder and one younger, butting heads for a second and coming to an understanding. That's very great to see. You love to see that. Now, like I said, I'd say more than half of the people who reacted to the story were actually on Red's side. Apparently, a lot of them didn't see anything wrong with the photo. If you actually take a look at this photo without any context of who the people in the photo are, hey, at the end of the day, it's just two black folks posted up in a club, right? But people need to keep in mind that these are figures who represent completely different things. I shouldn't have to tell you what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stood for, because they should have taught you that in school. But just to be clear, he represented equality, justice, and the fight for civil rights. On the other hand, Sexyy Red, my coochie pink, my booty hole brown. By this point, it's clear that she's been promoted as a caricature of the black woman by the music industry. I spoke in depth about this on The Dysfunction of Sexyy Red video. Definitely go check that video out. She's been elevated and pushed to the forefront because she embodies some of the most negative stereotypes associated with black people in America, but specifically black women. Putting these two individuals in the same photo inside a club, for that matter, is nothing short of blasphemy. That was obviously the issue Bernice had with Red posting this. I mean, put yourself in her shoes. Your father, one of the greatest leaders in black American history, gets associated with an image of him holding hands with Sexyy Red in the club. Come on, man. Why would his impact being subjected to this be okay on any level? And by the way, Bernice brought this up herself on her final tweet to the situation when she said, "I know that my father has become a bit of a character to the world and that his image is often used with no regard to his family, his sacrificial work, or to the tragic, unjust way in which he died. Unfortunately, I regularly challenge the disregard," she said. So Bernice has been vocal on countless occasions about fighting to protect her father's name and legacy from being trivialized or reduced to entertainment like memes, and she should, because it was her father. For her, it's not about this one moment or one post. It's about a larger issue. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. wasn't just a historical figure. He was a symbol of justice, equality, and progress. Reducing him to a meme or placing him in the context that undermine the seriousness of his work, it's very disrespectful, but also detracts from how paramount the lessons he left behind actually were. I mean, it's easy to dismiss this as, hey, it's just the internet, right? Or it's just a joke. But when we allow this kind of content to circulate without questioning it, we're complicit in reshaping how future generations perceive these leaders, and that's a problem. This particular incident aside, speaking of MLK, I came across this clip on social media the other day that went viral, and this is relevant to another aspect of this conversation that I want to touch on.
What's up, y'all? It's Odyssey. We're back at KOD, and we're going to go around and ask the girls a couple more questions and see what their responses are going to be. Who do you think would have tipped better, Malcolm X or Martin Luther King?
Malcolm. He was a street like.
But Martin loved them hoes. You ain't know that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, girl, he do.
But Malcolm, because, yeah, I'm going to go with Malcolm.
Malcolm X, because he loves his black women.
Okay, all right, there it is.
Malcolm, sorry.
I ain't gonna lie, Malcolm probably would have been spending them racks. Malcolm would have probably been spending them racks. I love Martin. That's my but Malcolm, he probably been, hey, baby girl.
Yeah. Malcolm X.
Everybody I said that.
I don't know. I feel like Martin Luther King, they were locked in. Him and his wife.
They don't know. Martin loved them women. I would just say that. Martin loved them women.
Now, I don't really know why this was an actual conversation in the real world, but it was. Kind of got me thinking about some things. I've noticed on social media, Twitter being a prime example, especially after a certain someone bought it. These algorithms keep pushing racially charged content, okay? We got to talk about that for a second. For this story, Sexyy Red is a famous rapper with a platform, so this post could have been up for 1 second and we would still be having this conversation. More generally speaking, kind of like the clip I played you is a good example. By the way, I don't know how the fuck that conversation actually exists. That's a crazy conversation to have. Not only does the entertainment industry seem to push and promote this one-dimensional view of black people, because black people are not a monolith, but social media algorithms are also complicit in amplifying this narrative. Which is also why on Twitter, there's an influx of like straight up white supremacy now. Have you guys noticed that? It's honestly so weird. Now, I believe that there's an agenda at play here. And the real question is, what does that agenda actually look like? Well, let's put it this way. Subjecting black leaders and figures of cultural significance to memes is one method. At first glance, it might seem harmless or funny, but there's darker undertones to it. A lot of these portrayals send a very clear and damaging message. They kind of strip away the respect black leaders deserve by reducing them to entertainment rather than figures of influence and change. So when you see a picture like this of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. with a big set of gold grills and rocks in his ears, yeah, it looks funny, but is it really? because it's through the medium of entertainment that a lot of the programming happens. It's through the depiction of certain imagery entering your subconscious and having it train you, entertainment, that they're able to bypass our defenses. And I might be talking about black issues right now because, that's what I care about on a deep level, but this really goes for anything, especially when it comes to all this content on social media that's going viral. These social media algorithms aren't designed to serve the best parts of us as humans. They're not here to elevate our thinking or challenge us in a meaningful way. That's something you should know if you didn't. They're designed to push an agenda, and most of the time, that agenda is all about tapping into parts of human psychology that keep us hooked in some type of way. So really, it's seeking a reaction, whether it's positive or negative. They know what grabs our attention, and they use that to shape the narratives that we see. This is why when it comes to certain spaces of social media, let's just say Twitter, which we were talking about, right? You might see certain pockets of Twitter that hold strong prejudices about black people, and they end up having the worst stereotypes and aspects of black culture promoted to them by the algorithm. This is 100% by design. It validates and amplifies their skewed worldview, making it even harder to challenge or change those biases. And this is all built on the narrative of entertainment, which is why I think you should question everything you see. Social media algorithms now more than ever have become their own little bubble. They're designed to tap into human behavior and deep psychological patterns, which is why you end up with all these racist, people grouped up in one bubble, reinforcing each other's toxic views, while the rest of us normal people exist in a completely separate world, which is the normal world. This is where you should be on this side, okay? And this is exactly why this video popped up in your recommended section. If, you've never seen my face before, my name is Blacky Speaks. If you like this content, subscribe. It's all a part of the algorithm doing its job. Now that was a little bit of a rant, but I'm sure you can see how everything is connected, because it definitely is. At the end of the day, Sexyy Red apologized, but I don't think she should have posted that in the first place. Another aspect of this which I want to touch on is a lot of these memes, like let's say the Martin Luther King Jr. in the club photo with Red. I'm almost certain that it wasn't made by a black person, but we have people like Red, who's a famous rapper, who's obviously black, posting it to her platform for millions of people to see. But it was AI generated. Yes, it was AI generated, but someone had to come up with the concept for the AI to create the photo in the first place. You get what I'm saying? Now, the real question is, who in the world made this photo right here? And why was it posted specifically on MLK Day by Sexyy Red? Questions worth asking. Anyway, if you made it this far, drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it. For anyone who's new here, my name is Blacky Speaks. Nice to meet you, and thank you for subscribing if you're new here. Any thoughts on this conversation? Do you guys agree with me when I say that I think Sexyy Red was wrong for posting this photo, or do you think I'm tripping? Also, I think it's kind of crazy that his daughter herself, Bernice King, responded honestly. Any thoughts on that? I'll catch you guys in the comment section below, but most importantly of all, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace. I'm out.